Hi guys, welcome to episode 34 of Get Your Buzz On. I have one of my favorite guests. Introduce yourself, Lyn.
Hi, I'm Lyn Haston with ERA Sellers and Buyers Real Estate here in El Paso, Texas.
And I have a bottle of Dibon. I love this sparkling champagne. I'm a champagne girl because it's like a smooth.
Well, what you don't know about me is I'm a champagne guy.
Oh, you are? Okay,
Oh,
so you
absolutely.
can critique it. I was like, they said the New York Times says that this one's like one of the best tasting, so I was curious to see how this was going to turn out.
Is this American made?
Yeah.
All right.
So let's see. I'm like, I
Well,
can't.
we have to refer to it as sparkling wine.
Sparkling wine. Okay. Well, you'd know that better than I would. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
What do you think?
Ooh.
It's not bad at all. It's really good. I don't
Very
like
good.
it too sweet. I don't like stuff too sweet. I have to have like has to be a little bit dry.
I'm usually the blanc de noir guy, so this is
Not bad.
very good.
So I guess it was right.
I'm
near
gonna
to-
have to try a new variety.
Yeah, this one. I'm impressed too. So, well, tell everyone about yourself and who you are and everything.
Oh wow. I'm a transplant from California.
Yeah.
Don't hold that against me. Gee, the other things you could hold against me is when I was a licensed attorney when I was in California, you can hold that against me.
That's a cool thing. People don't know. You have I felt like you've had 10,000 different lives.
When I first came here, which was 9 years ago, my wife and I talked about it, and it was kind of like the job where everything else I'd ever done
Yeah.
came together. I'd done accounting, not enough contact with people
Yeah.
to make accounting a permanent profession. Sorry. To all you accountants, I'm sorry. But I needed to be out more with people and that stuff.
Yeah.
So I got my law degree. I practiced law in California, but I must admit most of that was tax and real estate. So we were closing shopping centers, and we would do big commercial transactions. And at one point, we went to doing financial planning, selling securities. So I've been selling things for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Well, and you're a shy guy, so.
oh yeah, don't seem to have a whole lot of problem issuing my opinion.
No, not at all.
So back there, when I came out here, oh gosh, 2003, to look for real estate to invest in for my retirement. Moved out here in 2005 because I began building houses in Las Cruces. So we started building houses in Las Cruces. We did some development in Deming and built some houses in Deming. And then 2008 hit.
Yeah.
So when 2008 hit and things got a little complicated, we slowed down on that. I kind of sort of went to work selling real estate, semi-retiring, if you will.
Yeah.
That didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
From a perspective of my wife said, that's half the income and twice the husband, and that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2010, 2011, I was working for Doug. I hung my license here and sat down with Doug and said, hey, you need somebody to manage this, and I think I can do that.
Yeah.
It allowed me to bring my accounting, my law, the business stuff that I'd done. I've built. I owned a third-party loan origination firm. That's what we used to call. That's what we used to call mortgage brokers. I owned one of those for 16 years. So I've kind of had a little of all of that.
Yeah, you've had a taste of it all.
One of my best friends was a county manager for one of the big title companies where we worked. So I've had exposure to all of that different stuff. And I loved it because it enabled me to bring it all back together.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are. I've done mortgage lending. I've built new homes and built and sold new homes. I've just sold homes. We used to have a company called Beach Properties on the coast of California, and that was fun. Especially in California, we got earthquakes and you got all that stuff going on.
Is that why you left, or why did you leave?
Actually, I left because, like I said, I came out here to find real estate to invest in for retirement purposes. And when I got out here, and understand in California to build a home at that time, the cost of your permit would be about $18,000, and it would take a process of 4 to 6 weeks for your plans to be approved.
Mm-hmm.
When I came out here, I got introduced to a banker. I talked to a couple of different bankers, found out what they were willing to do in the sense of financing a home for us to build. And I decided, okay, instead of buying real estate, I'll just build a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Build a couple turned into about 120 that we've done now over the time, and we've just started back up again, so I'm doing that again.
Oh,
but that's
wow.
why semi-retirement didn't work.
You can't retire.
I don't think I'll ever retire.
Yeah.
I hope to slow down at some point in time, but I don't think we ever
We'll
get to
see.
retire.
Yeah, we'll see. But I can't see you like not doing stuff or keeping busy with stuff. So I'm like, it's hard for me to see that.
Well, and right now, I mean, I don't do the chambers and all of that stuff because I've done that.
Yeah.
I'd probably go back to that. And, you know, one of the things I really did a lot with is I came through the YMCA's. So I've been a member, a board member. I've been the treasurer. We've been the chairman of it was a 5-branch YMCA in the Central Coast of California. That got me as chairman. They actually convinced me to start teaching roller hockey because hockey is one of my passions. They asked me to start teaching roller hockey to kids, and for about 4 years, my wife never saw me on Saturday because we got up every Saturday morning early, went out and put the rink up, and did roller hockey with teaching kids how to play it and doing leagues and doing all that stuff. So I might go back to that.
I mean, like I said, you're a jack of all trades, so you've done it all. So what I'm telling everyone right now, this whole COVID situation has been just insane when it comes to the real estate market. What have you been seeing that's been some of the biggest challenges right now going on? Because, I mean, it's a hot market to sell, but...
Well, and actually it's a hot market to buy.
Yeah.
When we started off in March, I think everybody expected lockdown meant business was not going to go forward, that things were going to slow down. And in fact, we saw a lot of sellers back up and say, take my property off the market. I'm not going to put my property on the market. I don't want people coming and going from my home. It won't be a good time to sell. There won't be any buyers. And in fact, the opposite was true.
Yeah.
The buyers were still going, we don't care, we need to get out there. We kind of took the strategic tack within a day or two of the lockdown orders. We were on lockdown, but we got our best practices going. We got our practices and policies done for how we could continue to do business, and we did.
Yeah, because you guys did the virtual and...
Well, we were doing the virtual tours. We were using the forms that were defined by TREC for us to use to show homes, which is everybody signing off, knowing people are coming and when they're coming, and we tried to make sure that we were always doing appointments and people knew you were coming, it was okay. Yeah, I'm sure some of my agents thought, you're holding us back.
Yeah.
And the answer was, we kept everybody safe. We lived with the rules, which you've known me a while. I live with the rules.
That's why I love you. You're just like,
I live with the rules. So
Yeah.
we tried to go with that. We were monitoring the situation and what we were and weren't doing.
Yeah.
It's evolved. I mean, I think somewhere in probably June, we saw sellers figure out that buyers were still out there. So, I mean, my agents are all going, I put an offer in on this house and there were 20 other offers.
Yeah.
How do you get 20 other offers? How do I get through that? We did as best as anybody could, but I think sellers began to see and hear.
Yeah.
People are still buying homes, so maybe I ought to put mine up. And I like to think that the way we approached it as a company, saying we're going to be safe, we're going to make these forms be filled out, we're going to keep COVID safe, if you will,
Yeah.
helped us begin to see more sellers come into the marketplace. Recently, we've seen multiple offers for sellers slow down.
Really?
They're still out there, but there's not as many, and there's not as big a percentage on resale homes that are now going multiple offer. So what that just simply means is we got a little more supply, and we still had the buyers that we've had, so we're getting closer to being an even out.
Yeah.
Now, other things are happening, and I think as people are finding with COVID as a whole, supply chains, things like that, but what's happening now is interest rates went down to try to spur economic activity. We got a spate of everybody in town wants to refinance their house and be under 3%. Well, that crowds the mortgage brokers. You know that one well.
Well, my husband says it's been insane.
Yeah, so they've been extremely busy with that. We've really maintained, and for this company, March was about normal, so that was a half a month of COVID. But with full months of COVID, April, May, June, July, August, and now September were almost record months for our company. So it's still going on. So throw that to the mortgage brokers along with everybody that doesn't want to buy wants to refinance. It impacted the mortgage brokers. So how quickly they could get things done. Now we've seen it kind of progress to appraisers and inspectors. Inspectors are crazy.
Yeah, they're so busy.
They're really crazy, busy. So are appraisers. So now the nature of our business has changed again, because we used to be able to go in and say, we want to buy a home, we're going to do it in 30 days, everything is cool. And right now I don't believe my agents can get something done in 30 days, and if you do, it is truly the exception, not the rule.
Right.
Because appraisals are taking 30 days from when you order them, and you don't usually order them until you have credit qualification, and credit qualification's a couple weeks out because everybody is just slammed.
Right.
So the good news from the COVID perspective was it really didn't have the impact in El Paso that it's had elsewhere. We haven't seen people moving out of El Paso and going elsewhere because we had a horrible COVID response.
Yeah.
We have not seen that. So.
No, and I think why do you think though that the market changed so much when it came to the seller's market with all the multiple offers?
Well, I honestly believe that you're getting more sellers coming back into the market. So as we get more places available, we're going to be able to hit more choices. Buyers have a choice now. So I'm over here, I hear there's 15 offers. Do I really want to do that, or will I take another property that I have a better chance at? For us, new homes market was tremendous.
Right.
Think about a new home. I go out and buy a new home, I'm not competing with anybody.
That's true.
If you have it in inventory or you have it in under construction, you go see a new home agent, you put your offer in, it's accepted or not, we're done.
Yeah.
We're not competing with everybody else. We're not doing those things. And I think the new home market for not only us, but anybody in El Paso has been absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
For that reason. Are we going to see more lots, more building going on? That remains to be seen. I think that's the trend everybody wants to do, and I don't see any of the builders backing off. But I think the fact that people started doing new homes and got onto that, and just quite frankly, people loosened up. As COVID goes, the temptation is always to forget it's out there.
Yeah.
Or be less concerned. And I think that really happened. People started figuring out we can show homes, we can sell homes, and they saw it as a reason to put your home on the market. Is you tell me, would you put your home on the market if I told you if you price it right, you're going to get 20 offers and some of them are going to be over what we think we can sell it for?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what happened. So whether we got it done, the press got it done, or everybody just got it, I don't know. But we started seeing listings coming back as everything was reported that, gee, this is a fantastic market. Multiple buyers and multiple offers, and made it a little difficult for an agent because you got to go to a seller, and the seller's going, oh, no, my house is worth way up here, not here. And the answer was the market was never that way.
Yeah.
We saw some increases, but they were small.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that was like
It
100 or
wasn't-
50,000
yeah.
more.
We're not going to do a $250,000 home and sell it for $500,000.
Yeah.
I think some sellers thought that.
You're
I
like,
put
the
my home on
appraisal's
the market
the
too if I
appraisal.
could sell it for $2, but you know.
I would do it too.
Yeah. So and you know I know where your husband, what he does, and you know, I've got lots of contact with everybody, and I think everybody right now is saying we're slammed, we're busy from the real estate perspective, but I think everybody will agree it's harder
Yeah.
to get it done. Okay, we didn't see lending regulations get tighter. We did see lending underwriters make
Yeah.
sure that they were dotting every I and crossing every T.
Because they had to make sure that these people were employed or what was going on with everything. It was just so much unknown.
And so that part gets crazy, and I keep telling everybody, think about yourself as a banker.
Yeah.
So Victoria's a banker. Victoria's got a couple $1 million she's willing to lend to somebody. Are you really going to lend and openly want to lend at under 3% for 30 years?
Yeah.
Not based on the 36 years I've been doing this. When I bought my first house, you know what the bargain rate I got on my 30-year mortgage was?
What was it?
16%.
Jesus. And back then, though, you'd have the down payment. And it was really picked. They were
20%
big, yeah.
down.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have any of the other stuff. And it was a 16% rate. And we were thrilled because it had come down from 19.
Yeah.
So it's great to say the bankers are going to do this, and the bankers can make money lending at 3%. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Somewhere that gets changed. So I believe what we're seeing in my involvement with all the different transactions that we're doing, lending hasn't become a different set of standards. It's just that the standards that were there are being strictly enforced because we have so many people that are applying. We
Yeah.
might as well get the good ones
That's true.
and get through the good ones. We don't have to explain it. That just
The way it
how,
is.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
And the same thing is happening with appraisals. So it's taken us a long time to get an appraisal, but appraisers have new liability if they misappraise or they overstate value anywhere significantly. They can end up with some liability. So you're getting appraisers that are going to keep it conservative.
Yeah.
They're not going to program in what COVID might have put in. I don't blame them. But it also makes it extremely difficult to get a transaction done when you're willing to pay $200,000 for a house and you find out it appraised at 170 and the bank will only loan based on that.
Yeah.
That all affected our marketplace.
Oh, for sure. And with the new construction, with COVID, the lumber has gone up. How much now? Because I've been hearing a lot of things that it's been it's gone up substantially, but I'm not sure. I'm not a new builder, so I don't know.
Building homes, I can tell you, for example, OSB, which is the outside sheathing board we put around a house, was 8 weeks ago. I would say it was about $8 a sheet. A week or two later, it was $15 a sheet. Today, I think you're going to see somewhere between $22 and $24 a sheet.
Jesus.
So what I myself got was, in building the homes I'm building in Las
Right.
Cruces, 6 weeks ago, I bought my framing packages, and the framing package cost me $15,000. That's probably only slightly above what it would normally cost me. I looked yesterday to say, what if I bought the framing package today? About 22.
Jesus.
So there's $7,000 additional just in the framing package. Now you got to take that and multiply that times all the little things that go into building a house, and you're going to have some cost increase.
Yeah.
We have seen in new home building contracts, you got people that, I'm going to contract to have you build me a home, Victoria, and this is the price you gave me.
Right.
If the builder hadn't started the home yet,
It's
the
gonna
builder's going to have no choice but to come back to you and say, our prices have increased greatly. I mean, in some instances, the prices have increased sufficiently that whatever profit margin was originally in a home has almost evaporated without being able to increase the price. And you're finding builders are sharing that. They're not going out and saying, okay, we went up 100%, so you're going to go up 100% there. Okay, we went up $100 bucks, we'll charge you 50 or 60 bucks. So I think there's some playoff there. And of course for builders, they get more homes because of the marketplace we're in, so they can make that up. But it's been a major impact.
So like for pre-sales, like let's say I go to a new construction home, but you know the build out's not going to be for another 8 months or whatever, how long it's taking. You just buy the lot and everything. So those prices can change, because I know some of the new builders aren't taking pre-sales right now.
Some won't take pre-sales because of this. Some have in their contract escalation clauses that say if we have an escalation in cost, we can come back, and as long as we can prove the escalation in cost, which right now is not difficult, that'll happen. Now, some people are playing the market because what we're calculating on, who knows, it's going to be winter soon in the East Coast, rainy season in the West Coast. Is that going to slow down new housing starts in those two areas? And if it does that mean we have more supply of wood and components for here? And if we do, we could see the overall cost coming back down. But builders have to plan ahead. We don't have a choice. I mean, supply chain, and everybody says the whole COVID-19 thing, ask a builder how long it's going to take him from his normal source to get a refrigerator in a home.
That's
crazy. I mean, you know, we can deliver it to you in about 8 weeks. I just ordered a new dishwasher from my personal home. My wife ordered it, and it took 7 weeks for them to get it to me. So there are now builders have to do a whole different set of planning. They've got to be ahead of the game, and sorry, dear, nobody's taking an order without a little.
That's true.
So for builders, we used to be able to go in and say, this is what I need, and when they delivered, we gave you a check, and everything was good. Now it's, we're going to need this, so I want to order it, and they're going, then give us half the price. So cash flow has changed for builders. Cash flow has changed for everybody in the process of what's going on. And the supply chain stuff is affecting building. And it's raising the cost of homes, but I need you to know I don't think the cost of new homes is rising because everywhere in El Paso homes are going up rapidly. It's going up because the cost to build it is going up.
So I mean, what a lot of people don't know, like you said, with the appliances and stuff, that is the truth, because aren't some of the builders saying that they'll just give money instead of you?
We've gone from you want a refrigerator with part of your deal to how about we just give you $1,500 bucks? I don't blame them.
No, it makes it go faster.
Well, but quite frankly, it's the only way we can do it.
Yeah.
It's truly the only way we can do it, because now we hold up close. So what everybody forgets is there's two people that have to wait through the entire process to get paid. The builder and the agent. We don't get a dime until something is sold and closed. How long is it going to take to close? If I got to wait 6 weeks for a refrigerator, am I really willing to say, you can't move into your home for 6 weeks? While I wait for a refrigerator? Or is it better off to, because in fact, you can go down and buy a refrigerator on the floor at Lowe's or Conn's or someplace like that and have a refrigerator delivered. It's because we're competing with those people, we can't get it on the back end.
That's crazy. I've never even thought about that. Well, people don't realize all the moving parts that go on with it. What's your biggest advice for anyone buying a home right now?
Wow. I think buying a home right now it's a perfect time. We have great low interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
We're a little slight on supply right now, but I think pricing has not gone dramatically crazy on getting a home. I think you need to be prepared to know how much cash you're going to need to get in.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe you have to be pre-qualified, and I'm hoping a little closer than pre-qualification that we're talking pre-approval.
Yeah.
So I would tell everybody, if you think you want to buy a home, you need to talk to a lender.
Yeah.
We need to find out, are you capable? And not only capable, but do you know what it's going to cost? Are you willing to spend that much money? Are you willing to find that much cash? Are you willing to make that kind of payment?
Mm-hmm.
Once you've got that down and you know that, then I think it's a matter of finding the right home with the right price. And patience right now is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think you're going to go out this weekend, we're going to look at 4 houses, I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to put in an offer, and I'm going to get approved, the answer is most likely that isn't going to happen.
Right.
It just isn't. Sellers are surprisingly being kind of stubborn and going, okay, well, you brought me an offer, and it's real close to what I wanted, but what happens if I wait a week?
Yeah.
The thing that does not happen in Texas, that does in New Mexico and some other states, is we're able to put expirations on our offers.
Oh, I see.
So that we can say, Mr. Seller, if you don't tell us within 3 days that you're accepting our offer, we go bye-bye.
Yeah.
Now it's not as easy for a seller to wait. But patience is a big deal, and I know, I have realtors. And I apologize to all of them, but for a realtor to tell you you can close in 30 days right now, I just don't believe is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it can be done on the isolated basis, but you better make sure of why you might fall in that category that can do it. I think 45-day closes are probably the minimum.
Right.
I'd love to talk to your husband and say, so what are you guys seeing from start to finish?
Right.
Because that makes a huge difference
Mm-hmm.
on the lending process. I'm monitoring how long appraisals take. 30 days from the time you order it to get it back, and maybe you'll get it back. So we're already in a 45-day time frame. Some of that may be 60.
Wow.
Now, the other thing I'm telling people, I think now is a great time to buy, because no matter what side of the political divide you fall, I believe that November and December are going to be a bit more chaotic than we've seen so far.
You think?
Just from everything that's going on around us.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got COVID, we've got everything else that's going on, and interest rates and economy and all that stuff. Now we're going to throw politics, civility, we're going to throw everything else into the mix for 2 months. It's going to make people even greater on edge.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Aerosmith and say, no, we're not living on the edge anymore. We above it. We way above it. So I think that's going to have some impact. I mean, again, for people like your husband, for appraisers, for everybody else, now there's going to be outside forces making it less likely that you're going to be in any hurry to get anything done, or you're going to be able to be in a hurry to get anything done. We also don't know what's going to happen with COVID. Is it, look at El Paso, is it coming back? Is it making a second wave? No, nobody knows. I don't think that's going to impact the pricing of homes one way or the other, but it's going to impact your ability to get it closed and get it closed on time.
Right.
So patience right now is a big factor, but if you're willing to wade into picking up a home now, I think you get good pricing. I think you got great interest rates.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, not seen this. The difference between when I bought where you are now. I mean, I was at 16 thinking I got a deal, and now you can get, what, 2 3/4?
It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, I look at how much they're lending money for going, that used to be the best car rate I could get. Now it's a 30-year rate on my house.
Well, now they don't have the interest on the cars right now.
No interest on cars. No interest on a lot of things, I mean, quite frankly, except for the things that are in short supply.
Yeah.
So you want to go buy a dishwasher?
Yeah.
You're going to wait. And if you're going to finance it, you're going to pay.
Yeah. No, that's true.
So I think the market's in a great spot for real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to apologize because I don't think we need to, but I have to also say there's other areas that's not true.
Right.
I mean, it's really not true. But it's a good opportunity for everybody who wants to participate in the market to participate.
So with the election coming, not to get too political. So if you think, where do you see if Trump wins, and where do you see if Biden wins, how the real estate market will play out?
To be truthful with you, I don't see a dramatic difference.
Okay.
The only difference there could be is how much chaos is there around who won.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some social upheaval and some chaos around that's going to slow processes, cause concern again over, are we going to have jobs? Where are we going to go?
Yeah.
I hear all kinds of general statements like, well, if this guy wins, the market's going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I read all this stuff, and believe it or not, I'm seeing just about as many saying the economy is going to do better under one as it's going to do under the other.
Yeah.
So I don't really believe that real estate will be impacted, short of what's going to happen with timing, access, availability to go see, how many people are going to be willing to be out in society showing houses, buying houses, and doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that'll be long-lived, so I don't think whoever gets elected, I think somewhere by December, mid-January, that's going to all be worked out and everything's going to be back to normal. So
Yeah.
all the prognosticators that are out there saying, oh, if this guy wins, this is going to happen, and if that guy wins, this is going to happen.
We just don't know.
I just don't believe that's true.
Yeah.
I think I've heard presidents over my entire 68 years tell me, oh, when I'm elected, this is what's going to happen, or I'm the one that caused the economy to go this direction. And the answer is, from my perspective, no. A president can increase speed a little bit or decrease speed a little bit, but a president doesn't determine the direction. An administration doesn't determine the direction. The market determines the direction.
Mm-hmm.
And as things fall in place and as things go over a long period of time, and if you look at market swings, we get a cliff when we go down.
Right.
What's it take us to get back up? A long period of time. And then we hit a cliff and then comes back down. That's the market. That's people's confidence levels and people doing things like that, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
So I really don't believe, and I've heard how they're looking at tax legislation and how they're, this time of year we hear everything.
Yeah. That's true.
This is what I'm going to do. Really? Because it takes Congress to help you change the tax laws.
Yeah.
It takes more people and more involvement, so they can say lots of things.
Yeah.
But I think we just have to look at the direction. We're not seeing interest rates increase anytime soon. Perfect for the real estate market, perfect for Justin, perfect for us. I think good for buyers and sellers, both,
Yeah.
because we are at a level, so sellers are getting a good deal and so are buyers. There's not one side or the other that's making a killing.
Yeah. Well, so with realtors, what's your advice with them right now?
Become a listing agent.
Yeah.
Become a listing agent. I mean,
Because before the buyer's market was the hot market.
Well, and the buyer's market may be a hot market, but we always have to remember one thing. When a buyer's market's hot, it's because we have people selling property. This COVID demonstrated this really well. I got 10 offers on this home. Really? That's because there's not enough homes. Who of the realtors was guaranteed to get paid on a transaction?
All the listing agents.
The listing agent, okay? As a listing agent, I have 2,000 salespeople working to make sure I get paid. As a buyer's agent, I'm one of 2,000 people working to make sure that you, as the listing agent, get paid. And how many offers am I going to put in? How many pieces of paper am I going to generate before I, as a buyer's agent, get paid? I'm not saying you don't be a buyer's agent,
right,
because there's a lot of that going on and we need to be there. But if you want to, real estate hasn't changed in the 36 years I've done it from a fundamental perspective. Delivery methods are entirely different and change all the time. And in this pandemic have changed even greater, even quicker.
Yeah.
But the fundamentals are still there, and it's always been he with the listing lasts.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to continue that way.
So do you think, like in 2008, when we had, all the economic crisis, do you think, and there's that 80-20 rule, that 80% of the people are the ones that actually do, that don't do as much as the 20%?
Absolutely. Right now, I would say...
Do you think a lot of these agents are going to fall?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're going to fall. I think you're still going to see the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 rule, in place. I think 20% of our agents are going to continue to do 80% of the real dollar business out there. Whether you're in the 80 or 20 group is your choice.
Right.
It is about how hard do you work. It is, hard work has always been rewarded in real estate.
Right.
It still is. If you're out there doing the right things and you're consistently doing the right things and you're practicing what you preach, you're looking after the consumer, Zillow and all these people are getting into the business and things are going on and everybody's going, oh my God, I'm going to be out of business. And the answer is, for the 20% that are doing 80% of the business, not going to impact them at all, because people are talking to you and me and everybody else and we're saying, hey, so-and-so did a great job for me. I know this person. Go try this person.
Yeah.
That's what it's always going to be about. That's what listing has always been about, is making sure consumers first. And Zillow even says it, well, we're looking for the consumer experience. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the consumer experience? Do we do our job? So my advice to agents is use your education, use your experience, and use your judgment to help your clients make a good judgment and a good decision. Remember we talked about living on the edge?
Yeah.
Well, when you're living on the edge, making a good judgment decision is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
We as agents need to be able to be the one that backs up and flies the 30,000 feet and looks down and says, this is what's going on. You need to think about these things before we jump. If they do that, I think success is here, available, ready to rip.
So what are the biggest challenges you see with new realtors? That I just get my license, I'm going to go with you guys.
Wow.
What's the biggest challenge that you see with a bunch? Because a lot of times, and I'll go back to, what's the rate of success for realtors? Because a lot of people don't know that it is very difficult to...
Right now, I would say that's the easier answer. I believe about 2 of 10 make it. I think what most people don't realize is the average realtor, according to NAR, makes just over $30,000 a year.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Is that a great number or a bad number? Well, it depends on how many hours you put in and what you think about with it. But you also have to remember that's the average. So if we're just over $30,000 as the average, how many do I have down here that are making substantially less than $30,000 a year being a realtor?
Yeah.
How many do I have up here making substantially more? So we have to be prepared to understand that about 20% of the people make it through. But again, I kind of believe that's up to you. Are you going to take instruction? I think new realtors need to be sponges. They need to educate themselves. I think mid-level, if you haven't done more than 8 or 10 a year, you need to be a sponge. You need to be finding out what's going on. We teach people relationship marketing here from the get-go. I'm a Buffini mentor, so I can teach all of Buffini's classes. I take what he does and his systems, and I translate it to what I think works here. If you do that and you start looking at the relationship, everybody wants this to happen like this.
I know.
And that's hard. That's hard for anybody because you're up against me, and I'm able to go in and go, well, I've been doing this for 36 years. I've seen 16,000 transactions. You want to go with somebody that's been here 2 months
Yeah.
and has done no transactions? They have that disadvantage. What they don't have a disadvantage is the relationship with people.
Mm-hmm.
And people will trust you, and people will work with you, and people will enable you if you give them the reason to do so.
So can you tell if something like going to work out or not?
I'd like
the
to say
first
I
couple-
can.
Yeah.
I don't think, let me put it to you this, I think I can
Uh-huh.
within 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
I don't think I can when you first start.
No, because you don't know their work ethic.
Yeah.
You don't
Well,
know.
it's like politics. We'll tell you anything you want to hear,
Yeah.
but are we physically going to do it? And the hardest part with training is we put people through training. They don't do what the training is. I get people sit all the time going, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Don't come in this business if you can't use a telephone to make an outgoing call.
Oh, Lynn, that's my biggest thing. I tell people, do not text, don't text a client. Call them and get their information. Don't just text and be like, hey, I'm Victoria with Bundle B Insurance. Do you need an insurance quote? That's not going to do anything. And I feel like now with how technology is, it is a lot easier to do things, but the relationship never changes. I don't care what goes on. I don't care, the situation. You need to build that relationship because as easy as you got that deal is as easy as it'll go.
Well, and for the people selling homes, for example, and perhaps even some of the buyers and the people that are working with realtors, I got a question for you during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear from them? Did they call you to find and say,
Yeah.
Victoria, how are you doing? Are you handling COVID very well? What's going on? And if you haven't made those phone calls as a realtor, you're not building relationships because the customer didn't
Hear from
come to the forefront of your mind enough that you call to find out just how they're doing. I'm not talking about calling people going, you must know somebody who's buying or selling real estate.
No.
I need a referral. It was concern. It was care. And Brian Buffini says it all the time. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So we had the opportunity during that time. I would challenge realtors in El Paso to look and say, how many of you made those phone calls? How many of you followed up and did that in person on a phone?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the statistics, by the way, for what a cell phone is?
No.
Do you know that making outgoing calls and using it as a phone is number 8 for what a phone is used for?
I didn't know that.
Texting, music, time telling. There's
All this stuff.
7 other things in front of it's a phone, but gee, we have to use it for a phone. And that's one of the things I can tell. When somebody comes in here and the first thing we start talking about is you're going to need to make some follow-up phone calls and do some of those things. If that's hesitant, I can assure you they either have to overcome that and do the work to overcome that fear, or back up and think about what you're doing.
Exactly.
Because I don't know of any realtor that's truly successful and has been over a period of time that's merely done it by texting Victoria or merely done it by going back and forth on Facebook. How you get your clients, look, let's talk, we can talk for days on how you get clients. But how you get trust and how you get people to understand that you care and that they should deal with you is real simple.
Yeah.
Make a phone call.
That's true.
Now I won't say go in person because it's COVID.
Yeah.
That works when we're not in COVID timeframes, even better.
Yeah.
But I think we have to be able to demonstrate, and we need to really care to be able to demonstrate that. I mean, I get a lot of people that say, yeah, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that, but
They don't do it.
and when they do it, it comes off as, I'm not really concerned, I'm just doing this because I have to.
Yeah.
Those are the people that succeed. That's what we try to find out in the first 2 or 3 months that you're here is what's your level of care and concern for your customer?
Mm-hmm.
How do we help you develop that and get that? So that is our training. So we, Brian Buffini's got 3 levels of training. The 3rd one won't come out till 2022, but I do all of those in-house. we make them available to our agents because we believe the relationship side of what we do is whether you're going to be successful or not.
Yeah.
We are unapologetically full service, and what we mean is I've got 11 employees for about 160 agents.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that, 10, 14 per person?
Mm-hmm.
That makes a difference.
Right.
Okay. I've heard models say we're going to have all that, we've got all this, and my answer is, I was an accountant when I first came out of college until I got too boring. Guys, the numbers don't work.
Right.
Your broker cannot provide that. I think the other thing that happens is we've got a couple models that exist that are out there saying, okay, you just pay so much per month and you go do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask you, if you have somebody working for you and you know you're going to only make X number of dollars from them, regardless of how much business they actually do,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to give them more time, or you're going to give somebody more time that you make a little when they make a little?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'd be like, you're on your own.
Well, and I think too often that's the difference in all of the models.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a dichotomy going on with age. A lot of us, me, have been here a long time, and it's like, what is technology and why do I need it? I've done the. We do need to move toward technology. We do need to have a technological basis, and COVID, if nothing else, proved that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be a substitute for what we have to do.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be about, is the consumer satisfied and happy and all of that. That's where we come from. We teach the relationship marketing. We're going to continue to give you relationship marketing. I continue to give you classes. During COVID, they were online. Now, well, I'm going back to in-person where we can, and we can meet the COVID guidelines of how many people are in a room. But I'm recording them all. Some of them I do live on a dual stream.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to make it as available to as many agents as we can, because that's what we do. We support you, but I need everybody to understand the reason we're unapologetically full service is because there is a cost to that. There's no way around it. Anybody that tells you they can give you the same thing and not take money from you is just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. Not to the same degree, not to the same level.
Mm-hmm.
You know most of the people we have working for us. I mean, in all honesty, I would take the staff I have here, I'd compare it to anybody. They're qualified people that have all been part of what's going on. They've been trained. I tell everybody, I've reviewed 14 or 15,000 transactions in 9
Mm-hmm.
years. That's pretty good. I haven't seen it all. I'd like to say I've seen it all, but
There's always something new.
you need to know as soon as I can say I've seen it all, I won't be coming in.
Yeah.
That is retirement, when I can look and say everything is the same.
Yeah.
Every day is different in this business, and we need to learn, and we need to have that lifetime learning. That's the other thing you find from people in the first 2 months.
Well, I think too, when it comes to you, I think that people don't realize that when you're a new agent, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to not fill out, because a lot of the things I hear from other agents is that the paperwork's not filled out right. They don't know how to do certain things because they're not trained right well, and certain things happen, and you legally, you know all that stuff, and I think a lot of people don't realize how beneficial that is towards them when you're here and they can go to you.
And a lot of agents see that kind of as a difficulty because, oh my God, somebody's telling me I didn't do this right, and I didn't do this right, and I didn't do this right. We had one recently. Attorney's fees to keep the license was 18 grand for what really wasn't truly an error. And quite frankly, Trek came back and said, no, there's no error here. But we had 18 grand. What do? I manage that for us, okay? I can openly say we've got a great track record.
Right.
I unfortunately have to deal with the Trek investigators occasionally, but when I've dealt with them, they have this little form, and this little form is 13 items that they ask for anytime they're going to investigate something wrong with one of your agents or a transaction. I got the 13 list. I sent everything in to the investigator, and the investigator called me back and said, "Are you kidding me?" I was, "No, what's the matter?" And he goes, "Brokerages in El Paso," he says, "when I give them this 13, he says, I normally get 4, maybe 5 of those items. And unfortunately, the 13 items they're asking for, I think are absolute essentials."
Mm-hmm.
So realtors have a habit of wanting to take the detail out because it speeds the process up.
Right.
And the problem is we need to keep the detail in, and we need to differentiate ourselves by saying everything's going to be done right.
Right.
Everything's going to be done in your best interest, because if I'm doing something that puts the brokerage at risk, believe it or not, it's put my client at risk at the same time.
Right.
It just has. There's very little that can put the brokerage at risk that isn't putting a client at risk.
Yeah.
So I know everybody looks at me and says, "Well, you're protecting the company," and my answer is yes. But everything I do to protect the company
it all
is to protect
all
you.
under one umbrella.
So that is our difference. I think our difference is truly training, support, and expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the moment, I mean, there's not a lot of places in town that have somebody with legal training that's overseeing what's going on. And everybody likes to say, "Well, I'm not going to need that." But I can assure you of one thing, and I tell our starting classes this. They don't tell you this in real estate school.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this long enough,
you will get sued.
Someone's going to come after you.
You're not American unless you.
You're not American. That's not happening. So somebody's going to come after you, and the question is going to be, who's going to be there when they come after you?
Yeah.
And who's going to support you? I mean, I've seen brokers come in and go, you did that. We didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
We're not going to help you. That's not going to happen here, because if I don't help you, it paints a different picture of this company. Mm-hmm. So we are still telling everybody, unapologetically, full service, are you going to get the biggest dollar here that you're going to get anywhere? And the answer is probably not. Mm-hmm. Are you going to get your money's worth? We think we provide the value that it is there. That helps them make a long-term career out of this.
Yeah.
Ask the realtors, how many times they've said this is their career versus I'm a real estate agent. Mm-hmm. My career is real estate.
Yeah.
I've been doing it 36 years. It's a career. I don't intend to get out of it. You said, same thing my wife said, I'm never going to retire.
Right.
So if that's going to be if you're thinking with a mindset that it's a career, you want to look at all of those elements. Yeah. If you're looking at it as a job, not so much. Mm-hmm. What do I got to do to get paid, and how do I get paid the most, and how do I move on? And we see it when the market goes down. Right now we haven't seen it with COVID, but when the market goes down, everybody wants to go to the alternative model because their answer is, there's going to be fewer transactions, so I need to make more per transaction so I don't go down in my income.
Yeah.
My answer is, you need to do more hard work so that you can continue to do more business and take a bigger share of the business than you used to take. Mm-hmm. And you'll make more money.
I agree.
And you will. So I think that differentiates us from a lot of people in town.
I think with some of the newer agents, especially the younger ones, I think there's a brokerage for everyone, but I think that they don't understand the liability part and everything that goes along with it. I think that they see these shows and they want to make, the millions of dollars that come with it.
Yeah,
and I think
we're all going to be millionaires.
They don't understand the legalities and the paperwork and everything. I mean, even with us, insurance, we have to have signatures. We have to do everything, because if your house burns down, we want to make sure, especially right now, I tell everyone, we have to make sure everything's dotted, and you have to treat everyone like they're going to sue you, because one day it could happen.
Detail work, in the 36 years I've been doing this, I think the detail work has always been the bugaboo.
Yeah.
Most people find that as a reason that it takes longer and not to do. My personal success has always come from the fact that my clientele know the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. It's not going to be, let's move into this transaction and we can always make this work. No. Do it right the first time. And if you do that, you need to use that as a sales tool. It's a value tool. When you do insurance with Victoria, you're going to get an insurance policy that when you have a loss is going to get paid.
Right.
And you and I both know on insurance, if we got something wrong on the application, what does it give the insurance company the ability to do?
Get out of it.
Get out of it. Avoid paying. Pay less. I mean, that is the American way. How do we
Get out of
how do we
paying
get
it.
out of paying whatever
Yeah.
we're supposed to pay? That's not what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to stand up and we're going to stick up, and I want you to use doing it correctly, doing it right, and doing it the appropriate way as a value added tool, not as a, oh yeah, we're going to make all this paperwork happen.
Yeah.
It can't be that. And I think COVID was a good example of that. I told my agents, you are required, if you're going to be showing a house, to have a form signed that by the seller of the house, by the people who are going to see the house, by the agents, so that everybody knows what the COVID restrictions are.
Yeah.
Within weeks, I had agents coming back to me going, you're holding us back. Nobody out there even knows this form exists. And they want to know why they have to sign all this form, and where did this form come? It came from Trek, for God's sakes. Did you read your email? I didn't make it up, but we use that.
Yeah.
And I think we've done well with that, to be able to tell our sellers, if you want to put it on the market, we're going to follow the guidelines. We're going to stay within the rules and within the boundaries that we have to. And that's a good thing for you, for me, for them, for everybody that's involved in the transaction. It is the old win-win-win.
Yeah.
So-
Well, and I think too, with like someone like yourself, I think it's hard because you're not going to be everyone's friend because you're making them do things that, frankly want to do. But when something happens.
Well, and yeah, I mean, same thing with a home warranty and a whole lot of other things. It's like, why would I do that? And why do you want me to do this? But you only have to, the agent I talked about, can I lose my license? I'm going to pay $18,000 to an attorney. I mean, what people don't understand is if this company ends up in a push to shove about what you did, the immediate dollar out of my pocket is about $5,000. You want to pay that?
No.
They don't want to pay it either. But the answer is, if you're out there and you're in the wrong place, the E&O, and even with an E&O insurance policy, one of the things they ask is, what do we have in place? Do we have policies and procedures in place? Are we training our agents? Are we doing those kinds of things? The brokerage firms that can't answer that aren't getting the same E&O coverage that I'm getting. Because I can look at you and say, yes, I do train you. We do a couple of meetings a year that are mandatory, that you have to be there. If you're not there, I make a note.
Yeah.
Trek requires us to do all of this. I mean, everybody looks at me saying, you're making up stuff. And the answer is, it's all, Trek's biggest thing with all of us is, are you supervising the transaction from start to finish? My question for everybody is, if I have 3 employees that look at every piece of paper you do.
Yeah.
3. Without me. And that's because we want to supervise the transaction as we go. So we have a form system where you can put it in there. I can get out right now and go on the computer and check anything you've already done if you've put the paperwork in. If you haven't put the paperwork in and Trek comes after me on your transaction, I didn't supervise. How could I?
Yeah.
I don't even know the transaction is happening.
Right.
And that's a problem.
Right.
So, again, I think we have to be able to look at what's our responsibility from them And once we know what that responsibility is, let's deal with it. I'm trying to get the agents to understand that. I don't want to make it any more difficult than I have to. But if I'm making it difficult for people, it's because somebody else is making it difficult for me.
Yeah.
And my decision every day is who's going to pay for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't own the company, but Douglas will tell you I treat the company like it's mine from a wallet perspective. So, want to open your wallet and give me the $5,000? You can do that.
Yeah.
If you don't, maybe you want to do it my way.
Yeah. No, that's true. And I think what people don't realize too is in a lawsuit, everyone's named in it. So
it'll be the agent, it'll be the broker, it'll be everybody. I will tell you, there are horror stories at Trek about agents within a brokerage being at odds with the brokerage on a transaction, where you'll have an agent that did this and did this and did this and thought they were doing according to policies and procedures, and the broker's going, oh, no, we didn't tell you to do that, so we too think you are personally responsible. That kind of stuff happens.
yeah.
I mean, how many brokerages have somebody that's in charge of compliance?
Yeah.
I wouldn't work for a brokerage that doesn't have a compliance officer.
Uh-huh.
Someone who's experienced and has some reasonable compliance background, especially new. Because if you don't learn to do it right at the beginning, you're never going to learn to do it right.
Yeah. Because then you create those bad habits in the beginning.
Yes, ma'am, you
Yeah.
do. So and I think those are the differences. You can look at a model, but there are several things within any brokerage model you should look for. One is always, the first one everybody looks for is, what are you going to pay me? That should be number 3.
Yeah.
Number 1 really should be, how many support people do you have? Number 2 should be, what kind of training are you going to do to teach me how to do things? That's truly the first 2 questions I personally would ask.
Right.
What kind of support have I got, and how many people are doing it? Because if you tell me you're giving me support but you don't have the numbers, you're not telling me the truth.
Yeah.
So ask those 2 questions. Then you can get to, what am I going to get paid? But for new people, you're right, they don't understand the value of, it's not about making the bucks, it's about keeping the bucks.
Yeah. And I think it's knowing the infrastructure and getting your whole thing set up. And I even feel like with the new agents, a lot of them should, you should shadow somebody that's been doing it for at least, a year or more, just so that way you can get that experience being their assistant or whatever you
And the
call it.
example here is your first 5 transactions. Before you have your client sign, my policies and procedures say I have to look at it. So that we have to have the discussion to make sure, are we on the right track?
Yeah.
Are we doing this correctly? The other thing that happens here, I've seen happen more times than not, is a rising tide raises all boats. I have brand new agents that go out here and they start talking to my other agents about, how do I do this, how do I do that? And I don't have other agents saying, I'm not telling you that,
Yeah.
because I'm an independent contractor and we don't have to do this. Most of our agents here will assist and will give you advice and tell you this, and some of that advice will be, you better go ask Lyn. That's okay.
Yeah.
So I think there's huge differences in how we do this, and people come out of out of real estate school. Real estate school loves to tell you how much that the ceiling is unlimited. You can make bundles of money. The problem they don't tell you is there's no floor.
Yeah.
So imagine walking through a building. What are you doing? You're looking down all the time to find out where I have to put my feet. You can't make the skies if you're always looking down.
No, you're right.
You have to be looking up. You have to know somebody's got the floor underneath you. The floor costs money. So we don't apologize for being a full service. We don't apologize for what we pay and what we do. We think that's part of who we really are.
Yeah. Well, Lyn, thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
How can people get a hold of you if they're wanting to get some information about ERA or...
Phone number here is 915-585-2222. I do like phone calls. It does show me. My email address is Lyn Haston, that's Lynhaston, @ sellersbuyers.com. They can reach me there. I'm not going to give you the phone number they can text because I need to hear your voice.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It's a great thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.